Well folks, we've officially done it. The next channel milestone of 1,000 subscribers has been reached. I was a little late to covering this, mainly because of the Lethal Company video holding me up, but now that that's behind us, I'm free to get this little special made. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in and provided support to the channel over the course of these 5 to 6 months. And as a little way to give back, this video will be more of a personal, casual one. A couple weeks ago on the Discord and on my community tab, I've taken some questions from you guys, and this video will be me going through them and answering them. We've got a fair bit to go through, so I'll try to keep it brief if possible so I don't take too much of your time and I can keep the video to its usual runtime. Speaking of, let's not waste any more time and get to answering. Starting us off, we got a fair number of questions from Larry and Fuzz. Do you have any dream licenses for this game? Yes, I do. 2 in fact, and one of them is already in the game. I've already sung my praises about the FNAF chapter and Springtrap as a whole in the Five Nights at Freddy's PTB video, and I gave Springtrap a favorable above average score in the Comparing Licenses video, only really giving him a penalty for the axe being an entity creation and based on Living Tombstone's Die in a Fire music video rather than official material, which was what I was judging on. The minor model inaccuracies was just me nitpicking at that point. It didn't really affect the score that much, it was mainly the axe. Tangents aside, the other license I would love to see, even though I'm aware it probably won't happen because it's indie and not a mainstream horror game, is Monstrum. For those who haven't seen or played this game, this is a game where you're stranded on a cargo ship in the middle of the ocean and you have to collect items for one of 3 possible escape routes while the game sends one of 3 possible monsters after you. I've played the absolute hell out of this game with way more hours than I should reasonably have for something like this. If anyone's interested in a little short horror experience, I highly recommend giving this game a try. It's a very cool game in my opinion. I would love to chat about it sometime on the channel if we're down to do a one-off video, kind of like that Lethal Company one. What creators inspired you to make these kinds of videos, if any? So, a big creator that I watch is someone under the name Big Yellow. They primarily upload videos about fighting game topics, Gen 1 competitive Pokemon information, discussions on specific LEGO pieces and sets, and some silly videos on the aforementioned genres, plus some one-off videos of just their opinions and experiences with unrelated games. They have a really chill vibe and are really nice to listen to, even though I don't really care much about fighting games beyond Smash Bros, and I mainly ran into them because of the Pokemon content. I am a really big fan of that series. I've grown up with it and continue to follow it to this day. I'm very much looking forward to Legends ZA. After my initial attempt at being a YouTuber didn't really work out because I was doing Let's Play videos, and I'll be real here, the videos sucked massive balls and were just not good, I decided that I wanted to try and do commentary and informative gaming discussion instead. And Big Yellow was a massive source of inspiration since they have the vibe I wanted to try and shoot for and I've had watched them prior. I want to make content I'm proud of and would watch myself. And so far, I've been far happier with this format rather than using the shitty old mic on my headset that I've been using for those old Let's Plays and my early commentary videos up until I was able to upgrade it after the Killer Rework History video. What other games will you try out for the channel? A question about the branch out. I was kinda hoping to keep it as a general surprise, but fuck it, I guess I can yap about it here. I'm not going to delve too deeply about what I'm deciding to do with the channel here. If you want to see it yourself, I made an entire community post about it recently. The TLDR of it is basically, I realized I'm more mad at behavior than DBD itself, so DBD content will be coming back and still be the main game, but I'm still going to bring a secondary game series to yap about as an alternative in case we get another Walking Dead patch situation again. As for what that game will be, so far it is shaping up to be Outlast. Joy Lucky's game suggestion on the rant video ended up introducing me to one of the most immersive games I've played in quite some time in Outlast Trials, and I've been using my limited time and my busy schedule to work on slowly advancing and learning the game. So while I'm still fairly new to the game itself, I'm absolutely down to talk about it regardless. It's a ton of fun. Will we at some point see something that's different from the usual content, like non-discussion videos? So I remember in the Casuals Analysis of All Things Wicked video, I brought up that I'd be doing more content types like compilations or challenges, and while I've, for the most part, abandoned doing the challenge idea after thinking it over some more, I'm still down to do compilations or do something silly like make a ketchup out of context video. Hell, I've actually made a compilation video a while back, but I just never posted it, mainly just because I was afraid of how well it'd do, since, you know, it clashes with my usual content. Let me know in the comments if that'd be something of interest. I'm still receptive to the idea. I've coined the idea of streaming around, and while I've done it before, they've mostly been test streams to make sure I'm not a complete fumble with OBS, as well as that one time I played Subnautica publicly because I was still testing the waters, no pun intended, on what secondary game to cover while still crashing out over behavior's poor management of the Walking Dead patch. Basically, I don't stream very much, and that's less because I'm not down to, and more because of my lack of streaming knowledge and confidence, unfamiliarity of how Twitch works leaving me to stream on YouTube instead, and I'm just way too busy to stream consistently. Who's worse, the DBD community or behavior? The DBD community, easily. Listen, behavior may have made some questionable design and corporate choices over the years, especially recently with the whole Walking Dead patch and the Chandler Riggs stream. But there's a reason you don't see me use Twitter, and I make fun of that platform any opportunity I get. I value my sanity, thank you very much. Finally, for Larry's questions, how many subs for a face reveal? A lot. I don't feel comfortable showing my face just yet, and even if I wanted to, I don't have a webcam, or at least a quality one. I will get back to you on this probably never when I come up with an actual sub goal where that's the special thing I do for it. Rockman asks, would you ever consider making your own DBD chapter, like full-on survivor, killer, add-on list, perks, and skins? Well, I don't know about skins, but otherwise, absolutely. Oh, maybe I could do that for the next sub-goal activity for a video. The video would probably take a hot minute to make, but I don't see why not. Jellybean asks, do you feel the term Swift-sided is more appropriate than Survivor-sided? This is a bit of a slippery question, since DBD has a community that likes to throw, this game is insert role here, sided willy-nilly regardless of the state of the game because they got flashlights saved or got juiced and or outplayed by the opponent too much that day or in a match. If we're talking about the sides exclusively, then yes, I agree that Swift-sided is the most appropriate term. As much as we throw and accuse people of swiffing because they're playing very well together, I do it too. I'm absolutely not exempt from this in the heat of the moment. The chances of actually facing a Swift is not very high most of the time if we're going to be realistic. And if you do, they're usually a duo or a trio. Granted, that's not to discredit that even if said Swift is just a group of friends just vibing and having a good time, the ability to communicate between survivors in general is a huge advantage. And in this scenario, you do end up facing down a group of 4 competent survivors playing seriously in a Discord call. 90% of the killer roster is not going to win against that. That said, I only said that this is the case if the rules were the only factors. I view this game's balance as more who brought the better stuff and what map are we playing on sided. DBD is one of those games that, as much as we talk about skill, this game has a shit ton of variance that influences how a match is going to play out. Are you facing a solo queue group or a Swift? Are the players competent? If they're a Swift, are they playing to sweat tournament style, or are they just a group of friends hanging out on a Friday night with Spotify music in the background? What map are we playing? What tiles generated on said map and where? Who brought what perks, items, and add-ons? What killer did we get? There's just so much to account for regarding how a match is going to play out that even if you played well, you can still lose or get killed because of stuff outside of your control. And while a Discord call helps to alleviate some of those issues, at least for Survivor, it doesn't 100% remove all the variance. So yeah, for the purposes of the question, yes, I feel this is more Swift-sided, but my actual answer and feelings on the topic are a lot more complicated than just Swift alone. Quite literally, I could make an entire video on this if I really wanted to. Siberian asks 2 questions. The first one, have you ever gotten burned out of Vecna? Surprisingly, I have not. And I think the reason why is because I'm a killer generalist. I play whoever I feel like that day or how I'm feeling. Vecna's obviously my old reliable, I've made that very obvious, but I have an entire rotation that I switch between depending on what I'm in the mood for. I killer hop a lot, so that's why I prefer to go mainless, although I don't blame anyone calling me a Vecna main since, you know, he's my first P100 and he's also the killer I have the most time in. As for the second question, if I could rework any killer and how? Nurse. As much as I have a personal beef with Spirit, my issues with her are not because of her gameplay, but more because of the audio accessibility issues she causes since her entire counterplay is audio based. Nurse is my second most hated killer because of just how she's designed. Now let me make something very clear real quick just to avoid this. Her being the best killer in the game is not the problem. The problem is why she's the best killer in the game. It's been talked about to death by everyone at this point, so I'm not gonna bother retreading old ground. But as for how I'd fix her, I don't fucking know. This is the hard part of a balancing discussion involving Nurse, as her entire existence is based around how cracked her power is. Gutting it without some base kit compensations would lead to her being dog shit. Giving her blindness while readying the blinks would solve the aura perk problem that invalidates using line of sight to mess with her as counterplay, but it leads to her exclusively running gen slowdown perks as collateral damage since basically nothing else worthwhile works with her power. Another issue with Nurse is that the blink system causes a ton of perks to be busted on her when they'd be fine on anyone else. Take perks like PTB Awakened Awareness, Noed, and Starstruck for example. She's been the main reason stuff like Exposed got changed to only work on M1 hits, and she's also contributed to perks getting nerfed when they're fine on most other killers. Where I'm going with this is that she just needs an entirely different power since she's currently just a massive bottleneck to killer perk design creativity. And her current power was designed for an era where Infinite still existed, which, if you want my personal opinion, makes her the ultimate band-aid fix in this game's history. For our final 5 questions, we have them coming from Fossilized. The first of these asks, what is the strangest comment I've ever gotten? This would easily have to go to a comment on one of my old community posts where someone said they're gonna dip fries in me. This was a comment alright. I mean, I get the obvious joke here. My username is ItsJustKetchup, and I often get abbreviated to Ketchup for short. But it was still really off-putting to read that for the first time. I just kinda sat there staring at the screen like one of those images here when I first saw it. If I could make everyone in the world watch one of my videos, which one would it be and why? The Which Killer Would You Date video. You know why. That video generated some of the funniest comments I've ever seen on the channel, and it was a ton of fun to make it too. What's a comment that I couldn't stop thinking about, good or bad? There's a few I could answer for this, but I think the one I'll answer here is a comment from the channel Branch Out community post I brought up back in Larry's questions where I addressed the totally real and not at all unserious black licorice allegations. Essentially, someone said they'd keep watching me as long as I didn't say I liked black licorice. Larry pressured me into speaking, and I brought up that I was indifferent to black licorice as a food, then recalled a story where I subjected my family and myself to a game of Bean Boozled one Christmas. Long story short, I ended up having to wash my mouth out in the sink for 10 minutes because I tried to eat a black jelly bean for the black licorice flavor, only for it to be the bad flavor, skunk spray, instead. 10 out of 10 would torment my loved ones and myself with biohazard jelly beans again. If I could live with a DVD killer for 3 months, who would it be? Well, assuming the entity doesn't make the killer I choose kick my ass, I would probably go with twins. As long as I let them do their own thing and not get in their way, I think they'd be one of the least likely ones to kill me as long as Victor behaves himself. The last question of Fossilized and the video, I get to redesign one map completely. Which one and what changes? As much as I fucking despise Garden of Joy and Eyrie of Crows for both sides, I'd probably have to go with Freddy Fazbear's Pizza here. The entire map is just one big safe loop if you play it well, and the main building has several really strong windows and some decent pallets, especially in the arcade. If I wasn't allowed to rework Freddy's to be an entirely indoor map in the pizzeria, I would probably increase its size so it has more of a presence on the map rather than just, this is Greenville, but the theater is replaced with a pizzeria instead. And try to address the main building being obnoxious to take chases in, and maybe try and reduce the amount of safe tiles here a little bit. I'm not saying completely gut the map, but just make it more manageable for killers to play on since it's really easy to get ran like crazy here by good survivors. And God forbid you don't have an anti-loop tool to help you. Well, that about wraps up the Q&A. If you enjoyed and you want to see more, feel free to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and join the community Discord. The next video will be about Outlast Trials to help get the ball rolling on that game. But the week after that should start seeing a return to DBD stuff, and I'll start alternating between the two games, each with their own playlist to separate them. With that in mind, cheers!